What was going through your mind or your reaction when Justice James Omotosho was reading that life imprisonment judgment on November 20th?
Nothing. You know why? Because as of November 5, I had explained in a long tweet on my page and on my Facebook, on my social media handles, exactly what was going to happen on November 20th. Two things were going to happen in November. They were actually supposed to have jailed Nnamdi Kanu on November 10th. But they realized at the last minute that it was Ken Saro-Wiwa's same day that they killed Ken Saro-Wiwa. Second, the sentence was supposed to be a death sentence. But because they could not get, the support they needed to carry it out, they decided to make it life. Omotosho, as of the time he went for a break to come and read the judgment, was still, what he had in his hand was a judgment for death sentence. If you see the passion with which he was reading the allegations against Nnamdi Kanu, one, the laborious and tedious way it was going on, he didn't write the judgment. You can tell. You can tell from his demeanor and his action that this was too much. A lot of mistakes. He couldn't mention his name. He said everything properly. And secondly, when he went back, they had to have another meeting with him. They said, look, I don't think we can carry out the death sentence. And that was why they settled for life. And then they imprisoned, they settled for life and took him to Sokoto the next day. The fastest transfer of a prisoner. And it was to send a message to the people on whose behalf he was sentenced to life. Because nobody should deceive you. Nnamdi Kanu's offense has nothing to do with what they read as his charges. Some of those charges are dead. Some of them no longer, some of the laws under which they do not exist, like the treason charge. You can't charge somebody for treason after 3 years of committing the offense. So they charge him almost 4 or 5 years after he committed the offense. Some of the charges restated had already been struck out. So it was just what they call trial and error. His offense is that he was asking for the breakup of the real estate called Nigeria. And the owners of Nigeria decided that, you don't do that. That's, what is that offense the Christians talk about that is unforgivable it's an offense against the Holy Spirit. This is an offense against the holy oil in Nigeria. That was the reason why Ken Saro-Wiwa was, when you touch that area, they don't waste time, the owners of Nigeria. Then you've touched their economic life and nerve. And they'll kill you. They kill you immediately.
Have you been able to visit him in Sokoto?
I haven't, but I've had people who have visited and we've been in touch. I've been in touch with him in general, but I've not visited Sokoto yet. But you see what I was telling you when I was planning the protest for Nnamdi Kanu, which I believe also might have which I believe was the reason they didn't pronounce death penalty, because that was a lot of attention, and that was why they were upset with me and sent me to Kuje prison for 4 days over that. When we were planning all that, I was calling on all these Eastern governors to speak out. Now they've realized that it's even more burden on them that Nnamdi Kanu is sentenced to death. That's why OT had to fly to Sokoto, maybe on a private jet, to go and visit Nnamdi Kanu. The judge is still going to go there and visit and apologize and confess. It happened to Fela. The judge who sentenced him, when Fela was there, he was sent to Maiduguri, Bama prison. The judge drove there from Lagos to go and apologize, wherever he was. Judge is still going to, Tinubu will still visit Nnamdi Kanu in prison. But we told them this was unnecessary. They could have saved themselves embarrassment on November 20th by just discharging him of, just releasing him unconditionally. Because you could tell, how do you accuse somebody of killing Gulak when you have him in TSS custody? How did he do it? No evidence. The only evidence they have is a radio transmitter and microphone. I was looking for an evidence of, he went to buy a ship of weapons and sent to Nigeria. No, not even a bullet. Just exercise book where he wrote his thoughts, and where a radio transmitter they claim he concealed and brought to Nigeria, and a microphone. That's all.
Why do you think his release is important to Nigeria?
Because, Nigeria entered voluntarily into a disease in 1963. And to exit from it and heal itself, you must address the outcome of the Civil War. All of this thing you're saying is the outcome of the 1970 Civil War. And part of the reason why you say I'm active on this matter is not political. I didn't fight that in that war when I was active, and I don't want to participate in fighting when it is cold. They're still waging a cold war against the Igbo man in Nigeria. I know it. I don't need to go to school to know that. I don't need to have a PhD in philosophy to know that Nigeria has an Igbo problem. But it would be hypocritical on my side to fight and speak on behalf of Palestinians when Israel is shelling them, and forget to fight on behalf of our local Palestinians in the southeast where Nigerian government is shelling them. That would be hypocrisy on my part.
How do you respond to claims that your activism is funded by some quarters to create a false sense of opposition?
I'm very happy that people can have opinions about me that they can put out there that makes them feel good. But if you want to do an activism that is creating a false sense of opposition, go and put your younger brother out there, let them shoot him, and you finish burying him and you continue your activism. Be expelled from the university twice. Let your nose be broken. Let your mother have stroke because they detain you for a long period of time. Let your passport be seized and you can't see your children for 5 years and you have to be with your wife for be shot at, let them go after you everywhere you go. So, and then we can all come to a place where we say, oh, we have created another activist who created a false sense of opposition. I'm not trying to be an opposition. See, what people should differentiate between activism, as you call it, and opposition is cyclical in Nigeria. People only oppose the government when they are out of government, when they don't have something to eat. They will oppose the government. I don't belong in that category. And then what happens to activists all over the world is that a narrative is framed to scandalize you, right? And some people will believe it. So when you get to a point as an activist at my level, you don't even respond to that, because then you get distracted responding to what they call hubris. At the end, the person who says, "Oh, you want to create real opposition so that the ones that are false can pack and go home." So, but I understand that a person respects rights for people to have freedom of opinion, and I cannot tell you that anybody who says that has no right to say what he wants to say. Everybody should have a right to say that. That's the kind of country I'm fighting for, where you have a right to say what you want to say, and you are still free after you have said that. Don't have a problem getting Sowore arrested. You should be able to arrest terrorists. And that's why, and I'll say lastly, I know these guys as scammers. They spent $10 million to go and bring Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya for this their sham trial. If you spend $50,000, you'll be able to get Toji. If you put $50,000 on the ground in Zamfara or Sokoto and say, I want to get Toji, I'm sure there are enough hunters with that money who will go and fish him out. But they are not interested because they are partners in crime, in the business of terrorism. Because number one organization in this country is Nigerian government. You heard it from me.